Pokemon has come to the Switch. Well, not exactly, but Pokkén Tournament DX has arrived. For those that don't know, Pokkén Tournament DX is a port of Pokkén Tournament, released on the Wii U back in March of 2016. While the deluxe version features a few upgrades, most notably new characters and a new way to play local multiplayer, at its core it's still a port. So before I go any further, if you've never played the game, I'd like to point you towards the review that Derek did back when the game originally released on Wii U. He did a great job at outlining all of the core mechanics and modes in the game, so once you've watched that, come on back here to learn about the additions included in the deluxe version. You can find a link to Derek's review in the description below. The biggest addition in Pokkén Tournament DX has to be the brand new Pokemon you can play as. Darkrai, Scizor, Empoleon, Decidueye, and Croagunk bring the game's roster to a total of 21 characters. While that may not seem like much, there's a lot of depth to be found in each Pokemon's playstyle. The new fighters all feel very unique and seem to have had a lot of effort put into crafting them. While the developers could have recycled characters like what they did with Pikachu Libre and Dark Mewtwo, they decided to give each of these characters a new, fun playstyle. Scizor is probably my favorite of the new Pokemon. He's fast, strong, beautifully animated, and his moves are over the top and epic. Scizor even has the ability to fly around the battlefield, which can be performed by pressing the block button during a jump. The other new characters are great too. Empoleon is an excellent all-around fighter who can skate around the battlefield. Croagunk is an absolutely hilarious troll who is actually pretty good. Darkrai is a mysterious and powerful Pokemon that should certainly be feared, and Decidueye reps Pokemon Sun and Moon with his piercing arrow shots. Darkrai was the only one of the four that didn't quite click with me, although he is described as a technical fighter in-game, which isn't exactly my style. Alongside these brand new characters is the addition of an entirely new stage. The Thalia Beach stage has your Pokemon fighting on a resort island's beach. This stage even features Pokemon from the 7th generation of games in the background, a generation that was previously unrepresented in Pokkén Tournament due to it being released before Sun and Moon were out. In addition, 2 new support Pokemon from that generation were added, Litten and Popplio. Litten uses Fire Fang against your opponent, inflicting additional damage if you are low on health. However, the real game changer is Popplio's Bubble Beam. While non-damaging, Popplio's support move increases your Pokemon's attack power while also granting you a double jump. This double jump is actually amazing, as it allows you to mix up when you are going to attack, completely throwing off your opponents. In the local multiplayer department, Pokkén Tournament DX has added and changed up quite a lot. Back in the Wii U version, local multiplayer was only able to be played with one player on the TV and another on the gamepad. With a lack of the second screen, the game was bound to be changed. Fortunately, I found both options the game gives to be suitable replacements. When playing against a friend on the same console, you have the option to either play split screen or play with both Pokemon on the same screen. Split screen is exactly as it sounds, except it unfortunately shrinks each player's screen in an effort to maintain the usual screen proportions. When playing with both Pokemon on the same screen, the camera is fixed to be over the shoulder of player 1's character. It may take a bit for the second player to get used to controlling their character during the 3-dimensional parts of battle, but most battles spend a majority of the time in 2D, so it's not really a big issue. During this single screen mode, the game continues to run at 60 frames per second, while split screen runs at 30 frames per second. I found both versions to be suitable for play, however the general consensus among my friends and I was that it was better to play in the single screen mode since the entire screen is filled up. Now, you can still play with 2 players on their own screens, but that requires 2 switches and 2 copies of the game, which while the ideal way to play isn't exactly the most convenient or economical option. I also wasn't able to test it out myself having only 1 copy of the game. However, for those that want the ideal multiplayer experience, this is the best one as it runs at a rock-solid 60 frames per second. Within the local multiplayer section of the game is an entirely new way to battle, which is referred to as Team Battle. Each player selects 3 Pokemon for their team, fighting 1v1 until one player has lost all of their Pokemon. Between rounds, the winning Pokemon regains only a little health. It's a very fun way to play with and against a variety of different Pokemon, without returning to a menu to reselect. You can play Team Battle against the CPU, but like the rest of the multiplayer modes in this game, it's definitely more fun with a friend. Local multiplayer is where I had the best time while playing Pokkén. Sitting side by side with a friend while watching 2 powerful Pokemon slap each other until one falls in defeat is an absolute blast. Unfortunately, none of the other modes in the game gave me that sort of enjoyment. The single-player mode plays just like I remember it in the Wii U version. Repetitive, tedious, and seemingly pointless. Playing against the computer doesn't bring the same level of enjoyment that playing against a friend would bring. With every playable character, stage, and support Pokemon unlocked from the start, in addition to the lack of any real story, there's not much encouraging me to complete the entire league. Pokkén Tournament DX also adds daily challenges, which has you locked into playing a pre-chosen character using a specific set of support Pokemon and competing in a particular mode. I like the daily challenges for encouraging me to try out Pokemon I may not usually use, but the only reward the game presents you with is an in-game currency, which can only be used to buy cosmetics or titles for your trainer. If you're lucky, you may receive a cosmetic item or title, but you're better off just playing other modes to get coins to purchase them. Like the single-player mode, there's really not much encouraging me to come back. The last big addition in Pokkén Tournament DX is the introduction of the replay system. The game gives you the ability to save replays from any online or local wireless match. There's no way to pause, rewind, or fast-forward replays, leaving it up to die-hard fans to find other ways to analyze footage frame by frame. Like all other games on the Nintendo Switch, Pokkén Tournament DX is able to be played on the go, which definitely should make finding friends to play with a bit easier. I found it surprisingly easy to control with a single Joy-Con controller, and the game still looks great on the Switch's screen. Just stay away from split-screen mode on there. It's extremely difficult to get a good look at the action. Lastly, the online battling in Pokkén Tournament DX holds up really well. I played a number of matches online, and the game was always responsive and I was never disconnected. I know I've mentioned it a few times already, but playing with a friend next to you is definitely the best way to play, but online can be a close second when paired with voice chat. Overall, I found Pokkén Tournament DX to be an enjoyable experience, but many of the issues present in the Wii U version of the game remain. The game is fun to play with friends, and the addition of modes like Team Battle make the local multiplayer experience even better than it was on the Wii U. The game still lacks a fun single-player mode, and it was practically made worse since everything is already unlocked. However, I think the fun I've had with the multiplayer outshines the shortcomings the game has in single-player. I like Pokkén Tournament DX, and I think it's a great game for anyone who has the ability to play a lot of multiplayer. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on Pokkén, Nintendo Switch, and everything gaming too. Bye.